All right, very good. So again, we are working with our clients in a strategic way. So we want to make sure that we focus on the approach, the presentation, and the expectations that our sellers are going to have from us. So when we talk about approach, we're talking about paying attention to the details, asking the question, constantly measure for motivation, and the question is, are you ready to list? Are you ready to sell? You have to make sure that you're putting that out there as often as possible. So here are some of the questions to uncover the details. These are questions that we wrote down that make a lot of sense. If you memorize them, you're going to be tremendously successful in the listing presentations every time you go in. One, how did you hear about me? It's very important that you know how they heard about you so that you can go and continue that marketing strategy. Two, why are you selling? You need to find that motivation. If it's big enough, they will sell. If it's not big enough, they may flake out down the road. Three, where are you moving? You need to be able to have all the details so you can have this conversation with them and potentially help them on the other side. How was your experience if you sold a home before? You want to ask them, have you sold a home before? And then how was your experience? This way it's going to gauge what kind of seller you're working with and what you can do to improve the experience if they had a bad one. Is there a mortgage of information that you need to be aware of? So you need to know what kind of note they have, if there's any payments left to be made. That way you can make sure that the numbers all make sense in the meeting that you have with them. Are you the sole decision maker, or is there another person joining you in making the decision process to sell the house? You have to make sure that the deed is in that one person's name. And in a case where there's a probate situation, there may be multiple siblings or family members that are involved. And in a lot of cases where there's a divorce going on, sometimes the spouse is not involved in the first meeting, but they do have to be involved in the actual decision making. How soon do you want to have your home on the market? That is one of the best questions to ask. How quickly do you want to go? How quickly do you want to move? How soon would you like to be in your next home? And from that conversation, you can now go through and make sure that you know how motivated they are. What needs to happen before you put the home on the market? So they may decide that they have to fix this or that, or there may be a child who's in school and has to finish school. They may have a job that they're working, they're about to retire, they have to finish that job before they can retire and move. So you have to find out what are the decision-making factors that are stopping them from going on the market or that are motivating them to go on the market. And the presentation is all about respect. At the end of the day, you have to bring your marketing presentation and in your head think about how important that person is, caring about them and their situation. And then you move into the pricing presentation after you've spoken about marketing and what you're going to do for the property. There is hundreds of value adds. There's a 48 PowerPoint that we're going to add to it, 48 points that point out exactly what we do in marketing. And then you want to go into the pricing strategy and talk about why we price at market value or a little under market value so that we can get bidding wars, get a whole pressure of people in on the property. Pricing over value, especially in this market, is going to mean that we're left behind and that eventually we're chasing the market and going down. We don't want to do that to our sellers. We want to price them right up front. That way their home sells and gets them the best return.